just listening to Joshua Baw play Hofmeister's Concerto in D major. Today we get to talk to Joshua Baw, a junior student here at Eastern. Hello, Josh.
Hey.
So, how long have you been playing viola?
Well, just viola, probably 3 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've been playing other instruments, obviously. Yeah.
Whatever instruments.
Oh, well, I started piano when I was 5, and I started violin when I was like 6 and a half or so. Yeah.
What made you start to, what was calling you to play those instruments?
Well, I first started piano because when I was growing up, ever since I was little, for as long as I could remember, my sister was always playing piano, and I would just hear a lot of music around the house too. Like my brother also played violin, and he also moved later to viola too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do they still play those instruments?
No, they don't. Yeah.
So, what made you decide to switch to viola?
Well, it was first suggested to me from my teacher, my violin teacher, who's also a violist, and she just kind of told me to try it out, and I liked it, and so I switched over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you play viola in the school's orchestra, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what else, what other ensembles are you involved in?
Well, I've played in a lot of ensembles, but right now I'm in the Juilliard pre-college program, and I'm in the second. Well, it's not the oldest orchestra, but I'm in the symphony.
Okay.
It's called the pre-college symphony, and I'm also in the advanced study program, I think it's called, at the Settlement Music School, and it's kind of like I just do chamber music, and we rehearse every week. Yeah.
Okay. How often do you meet with the pre-college Juilliard Academy?
It's every Saturday.
Every Saturday?
Yes.
For how long?
Well, this year my schedule starts at 10, I think, and it ends at 6.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's other classes too. Yeah.
How do you maintain stamina with your practicing and performing? Because clearly you do it often.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard with school and all, but typically what I do is after school I come home and I finish my practicing first, and then I'll eat dinner and do homework. So I won't I won't forget to practice or anything because of homework. So I always prioritize the practicing first.
Okay. What was one of your favorite pieces that you've ever played?
That's a hard one. I mean, I would say for viola, I really enjoyed playing Hindemith. I forget what it's called, but his pieces are pretty interesting too.
Nice.
Yeah.
When you play viola, is there a certain sensation that you have, or what is going through your mind when, of course, having the notes and rhythms and all of that, but is there anything else that you're thinking about?
Usually my teachers say that my technique is pretty good for where I am right now. So usually I try to concentrate on phrasing and character, and right now I'm trying to work on maybe moving around while I'm playing and stuff like that, more of a performance rather than just a display of technique.
Has that been a tough transition as you've as you have advanced as a performer?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, it's having building technique is more of a set thing. It's there are there's a process that you can take. There are different methods that you can use, but being musical and being able to perform is more of just doing it on the spot and emotional rather than just a robot.
Okay. What's a suggestion that you have to other musicians?
I would say it's probably most important to just keep your passion for music and also practice every day, because even if you skip one day, it's very easy to fall back on what you've done. It's a layered process. You need to keep building. You can't retrogress or anything.
Now, with your practicing schedule, do you keep the same routine every day, or do you practice some? What's your day-to-day practicing schedule like? Do you start with scales and so forth?
Yeah, I usually do scales and arpeggios and broken thirds, and then a chromatic scale, and then it's just all in the same key. I usually every week I might switch or something, and then I do thirds, sixths, and octaves, and then I start doing maybe my etude, and then I'll do my piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, have you ever considered any like band instruments, or have you always been focused on orchestra? Of course, there's symphony orchestra, which involves both, but have you ever considered band to an extent?
Learning another instrument, I don't, I don't think so. I think 3 is okay.
Yeah, that's modest. Okay, so we have some questions from our studio audience. So do you prefer playing solo or with others?
Well, I definitely think there are some like pros and cons for both. Solo is like you're able to like show off, I guess, in a way. But I think playing with others is also really fun too, and being able to like perform and create music with other people that enjoy the same stuff that you do is great.
Okay. And do you mostly stick to classical music, or do you play some contemporary?
Well, I mean, I guess most of the time I do play classical, but I mean, like in school, we usually like do some other stuff too. And I know on piano, like I've done like a piece called Desperate Measures. It's more like of a jazzy piece, so I don't only do classical music. Yeah.
Nice. Do you feel as though classical music will always kind of exist, or do you like have you noticed like different pieces that are a bit more modern but like are taking on a different like style?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure if like classical music will ever die or not, but I mean like it's definitely like lasted for quite a while now, and like there's always like a standard repertoire that people use when they're learning instruments and stuff, and there is modern music that's coming up that's like it's called atonal music, which I think is pretty interesting because like there's no really like harmonies or anything, and like contemporary music sometimes they'll use like sound effects, like maybe like you'll slap your violin or something, I don't know. But like yeah, there's like composers creating new music. Yeah.
Do you notice the different programs that you're involved with, are they using this modern style as well?
Typically the programs that I've been in, they have like a division for composers, and they'll like have the musicians in the other division, like in the like my major is like viola or whatever, piano, and they'll have like the composer like introduce their piece, and they'll have musicians play it for them. But I think for more like formal stuff like concerts and things like that, usually like orchestras and ensembles will stick to classical music.
Okay. Yeah. So after high school, how are you considering pursuing music?
Well, it's certainly an option, yeah. I think my dream job as a musician would probably be playing in a quartet, because I've always loved quartet music, and it's not quite as stressful as maybe like soloistic playing, but it's not like I'm buried like in the orchestra either. So like I don't know, I like it. It's fun. Yeah.
Nice. And have you ever composed music on your own?
Well, for Juilliard pre-college, like for the music theory part, I guess I'm kind of learning the basics, like choral style. Like if you give me a bass line and some like Roman numerals or something, I might be able to compose something, but not like freestyle, not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Josh will be playing in New York City this Friday night at the Lincoln Center. Which pieces will you be performing, Josh?
Well, we're playing 4 pieces. We're playing Mussorgsky's Night on Bell Mountain, Tchaikovsky's Overture to Romeo and Juliet, the William Tell Overture, and Beethoven Triple Concerto.
Nice. And now Josh will play a piece for us.
Thank you again for joining us, Josh. Please check out more EHS Voices at voyageronline.org or our YouTube channel, EHS Voyager.